And so when I'm in these spaces and I can't fully express, lament, question, concern, whatever, based on what I'm going through, you eventually find yourself like compromising things. You're not saying, you're not speaking up. You're okay, sure, I'll do it. Right? You're taking on these tasks or taking on these responsibilities and not fully expressing the challenges that you're having with them. And so you start to compromise yourself.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis.
Hello, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Sis. This is a safe space for Black women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued. I want you to know we have room for you here, sis, okay? I am Shekinah, your host, and this is absolutely one of my favorite places to be, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a community. If you are new here and did not know, not only is it a community, it is a sisterhood. So that means I want you to be just as involved in growing, building, and creating this platform as I am. So if you have ideas, things you want to see, timeline topics you want to talk about, let's talk topics that you want me to discuss or me and Jeff to discuss, please email me your questions, your advice, your concerns to the Let's Talk Sis pod@gmail.com with the title Let's Talk Sis, and we will get into it, okay? So the Let's Talk Sis brand is all about promoting authenticity in conversation, an effort to heal, grow, and inspire our audience. So if you love what we're doing here, you can help keep the conversation going by supporting Let's Talk Sis on a monetary level and buy me a coffee, okay? Your support helps us to grow the team, improve the content, and keep the mission moving forward. So every contribution made, big or small, really does make a difference. So you can tap the link in the show notes or visit buymeacoffee.com/Let's Talk Sis to show your love and keep us growing and building this community together. All right. Okay. So let's just do a quick little check in. So, as y'all know, we are batch recording right now. Okay. I'm getting a bunch of episodes in the can so that we can soon come and take a break at the end of this year, at the end of the holiday, or excuse me, at the end of the 2025 year. The holidays are coming up. So, there's going to be family, there's going to be food, there's going to just be rest, relaxation, and recovery. Okay. So I want to give y'all a quick little update on our follower, our subscriber count on YouTube. We've officially hit over 100 subscribers. Oh, sorry. Okay. We are at 102 subscribers. So thank you to all 102 of you. I'm so excited that you decided to join the Let's Talk This community. I remember starting this YouTube page and there was 0, and now there's 100, and I can't wait. So thanks, guys. Now, what I do need from all 100 of you, though, is to like the podcast. So it's like the episode, comment on the episode. Let me know what resonated with you, why you decided to follow this crazy crew over here. Okay, let me know what's tea. It's called Let's Talk, sis. So let's talk. Okay, tell me what's all going on. I just want to say thank y'all. I'm extremely grateful. It doesn't go beyond me that you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to follow the podcast. This is time that you are taking on your own to listen to me. Also, I apologize for screaming in y'all ears if y'all listening to me with headphones. Love you. Okay, so I just wanted to announce that because I truly do appreciate it. So, with that being said, come on, production. Let me get on my production hat. It is time for our first timeline topic. So let me go ahead and share that with y'all. Okay. All right. So this one comes from Lunel. She put, well, it is B. Maya Angelou who reposted, excuse me, Lunel reposted this clip said by B. Maya Angelou.
There's an African saying which is, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. I mean, if he had something, he'd cover himself first, right? So I like to look at self-love. It is very important that it comes from within, that you have a sense of yourself, so that when you walk into an office, you don't go alone. Bring your people with you. Bring everybody who has loved you with you. Say, Grandma, come on, let's go. Great-grandpa, you've been dead all this time. Come on, let's go. I have to go in here and have an interview. Come on, Auntie. Come on, my friends. Come, let's go. And when you walk in, people don't know what it is about you. They can't take their eyes off you. You may not be cute in the given sense. You may not be fashion model size in that particular sense. You may not be any of those things, but they can't take their eyes off you. And they say of you, in this incredible way, which I don't understand, they say, I don't know, but she has charisma. You know, what you have is all those people around you. So think of that. Anytime you have anything to do, bring everybody with you that you can remember who has loved you.
All right. Thank you for those words of wisdom, Dr. Andrew. And, you know, I wanted to share this because today we're going to be, and I promise y'all, I put together these dockets so sporadically, but the alignment is really giving. It's really giving divine. I just was finding topics and I was just throwing them on the docket. I didn't correlate, you know, this is going to match really well with this topic and this topic is going to match really well with this topic. I didn't even do that, but it's done for me. Today we are actually going to get into talking about community and the power of safe spaces. And one thing that I felt was so relevant and powerful in what she is saying is that sometimes, oftentimes, I have definitely felt like I'm the only one. I'm the only one in this room that looks like me, that sounds like me, that talks like me. That's in a room full of Black folks. That's in a room full of other races, right? I felt alone. And I think it's so powerful, this mindset, this perspective that we can kind of allow ourselves to have, in that actually I'm not alone. Actually, there I can bring these spirits, these energies, these affirmations of all these people I've come in contact with, all these people in my life. I can bring that in the room with me. You know, it's a confidence booster. It allows us to show up without questioning ourselves all the time. You know, it allows us to walk boldly in our purpose, walk boldly in these rooms when we realize, oh, I can bring my ancestors with me. I can bring those people who have fought, who have died, who have sacrificed, who have loved for me with me. You know, I don't have to do this alone. And there's this inherent boost, you know, that you get when people are looking at you. Well, what makes her so confident? What makes her so sure? What makes her so, you know, whatever it is? Well, I got my people with me. Hello? You may not be able to see them, but I see them, I feel them. And I'm not talking about conjuring spirits up from the dead and all the woo-woo, but you get the sentiment, right? You get that there have been people throughout your life, I'm sure, maybe even if it's just one person, even if it's me, sis, take me with you, girl. I got you. I'm gonna hype you up, period. You know, so I think it's important for us to recognize when those people enter our lives. It's important for us to take that energy and count it as sacred, count it as special. You know, when you get to doubting yourself, when you get to questioning if you belong, when you get to wondering how you ended up here, their voices will ring. Their encouragements come through and overpower those doubts, overpower that guilt. And even if it's the voice of the Lord, amen, and the power of the Holy Spirit that you take with you, you're not going anywhere alone. You're not doing anything by yourself. And we were made for community. We were made to be together. We were made to be engaged with others, right? So when you find yourself in these rooms and in these spaces and, in these conversations, even where you feel like, why am I the only one who thinks this? Why am I the only one who feels this? You're not. You can bring that power. You can stand on the shoulders and the confidence of those who have gone before you. And I just want to encourage anybody, who's maybe walking into new opportunities, walking into rooms they've never been in, seeing and having conversations with people you may feel are out of your element, that you have support. You have people who have your back, right? There are people who love you. Again, even if it's just me and God, girl, take us with you. Know that you are meant to be there. Know that nothing happens by chance. There's a reason for for all, I'm gonna say almost everything, 99.9. Some stuff is just a little spooky, but there's a reason that things are happening. There's a reason that you're in these rooms. There's a reason that you were invited. There's a reason that somebody, asked you to be there. And if you can't draw from your own confidence, from your own knowledge, from your own courage, conviction, whatever insert word here, draw from those who went before you. Draw from those who are in your circle. Draw from those who are your community. What would Shekinah do? What would Jesus do? What would X, Y, and Z do? How would they act? Cosplay for the moment if you have to, but don't ever feel, like you have to energetically face things alone, right? We are here with you and we are here to support you. So that leads me right into my timeline topic for the week. Okay, come on with the flow. I'm here for it. Today, sis, we are talking about the power of safe spaces and why community healing matters for Black women. Okay, so for me, in creating this space and being so steadfast on, I need to create a safe space for Black women, because whenever I tell, not everybody, but I've told people that over the years that the podcast is a safe space for Black women, and it's like, well, why I gotta be Black? Why can't it be other? Why can't it just be a safe space for women? When I go into these rooms and these conferences, I had a mentor of mine say, well, when I go into these conferences and I see women, Asian, white, Indian, da 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 da, all the different races, Hispanic, I realize that we have more in common than we do not in common. And I'm not disputing that fact. That's fine. That's not what I'm here to dispel. I'm here because we, just like a Hispanic woman, just like an Indian woman, just like a white woman, still also have unique experiences that they don't have, right? We also have unique ways in which we go about entering the world that they don't have. And it's okay to have the spaces in which we come together as a collective and we talk about our collective shared experiences. I'm not knocking those spaces at all. But in that same token, it's also okay to have these sacred spaces that are specifically, exclusively for Black women to talk about when we show up as a Black woman, how that looks. It's not to have a pity party. We're not over here, woe is me. We're not over here, oh man, this is a Black woman, not it's just a struggle. No, we are not over here doing that. We are over here saying that when I show up in XYZ space and my hair is different every single week, I gotta have this conversation that's annoying about how it got on my head. Other women are not talking about that in the way we will. When I say I need to get this kitchen cleaned up, you're going to know what I mean when I say this kitchen cleaned up. And I'm not talking about the one in your apartment or in your house, okay? So there are always going to be unique experiences that we have, and I think that's special. I don't think it's necessary for us to always be this blob of people where everybody's one one race, color, creed, da 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 da. I think our unique differences are special and are sacred and should be celebrated, right? And should be identified and acknowledged. And there should be a safe space where we can go and talk about it and not have to hear, well, why doesn't it have to be from Black women? And not have to hear, well, what about white women? And not have to hear, well, what about me? And what about me? We're not, y'all go find your thing. Go find it over there. You know, that's just not what we are here to do in this 1 hour to 30 minute to 1 hour time frame. In this time frame, we are here to celebrate what makes us unique, what makes us special. And, you know, as I was saying earlier, when I started the podcast, I was living in West Palm Beach, Florida. Not a very diverse space, at least not the rooms that I went in. You know, the restaurants that I would go to, stores that I would shop at, the beaches, we were sprinkled in there. You know, there were a few of us, not a majority, not even a half. And it does not always make me feel comfortable because there's no matter what you want to say about how many similar experiences we have as people, I have been in places and spaces where I cannot fully express myself without a side eye, without a, well, she's just so loud, or without a, wow, you're so smart. How do you know that? You know, without those microaggressions of, well, I could outdance any Black man in here. Well, huh? Huh? You felt that was what you needed to say to me? You know, you felt that was what you needed to address me with? There are these microaggressions that sometimes the whites don't even realize that they're doing. Okay. And when you feel like that constantly, for me, it was defeating. It was deflating. It was, you know, finding myself not being able to relate to and to understand how. You know, I worked as a financial advisor for a few years, and what how it works basically, they tell you, you know, to kickstart your business, you got to call your contacts. You got to call the people you know and basically, you know, start your sales process from there. And the people you know, ideally, are people 30s plus who are married, who have small children, who are making upwards of $150,000 a year, and dual income, ideally, right? Who care about investments, who care about being financially responsible. Now, what I am not saying, I'm not saying that there are not Black folk like that. I know that they're out. I know that. That's not the question. What I am saying is those are not the Black people I know. Okay, everybody in my phone, not giving that. Now that could be a matter of a million and one different things. But what I am saying is that when I walked into the room with all the white boys and they were able to make these contacts, make these connections because those are just the people in their circle. I'm like, I feel like a failure because I don't know these kinds of people. Those are not the kind of people that I'm familiar with. And then let's not, like, I don't also have to dispel the rumors that exist in my community around saving, investing, life insurance, yada, 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 yada. You know, one of the guys, he was saying in his house, there's a framed life insurance policy from like 1868 or something crazy that essentially was the kickstart to their family's generational wealth. And I'm just sitting there like, I wonder if I could even trace my family history back to 18 something. I wonder if I could even find birth records for my great back to that. And again, this is not to say it's an excuse because there are Black folk who work in the financial industry and are doing extremely well and have been able to overcome all of these circumstances. But it is to say that there wasn't a space for me to even express these things without them immediately being discounted, without them immediately saying, well, you just got to work harder. You just got to make more dials. You just got to, put yourself in different rooms. You just got to, da, 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 da. Right? There wasn't a space for me to even express these things, express that, hey, this is why I'm struggling. These are the issues I'm facing in my community with my contacts. The people in my phone are telling me, you don't have that problem. So you can't even advise me on how to maneuver and navigate through that. You are seeing it as an excuse. And I don't know, maybe it is, but that's just my experience, right? And so when I'm in these spaces and I can't fully express, lament, question, concern, whatever, based on what I'm going through, you eventually find yourself like compromising things. You're not saying, you're not speaking up. You're okay, sure, I'll do it, right? You're taking on these tasks or taking on these responsibilities and not fully expressing the challenges that you're having with them. And so you start to compromise yourself, right? You start to think you're okay, say you're okay when you're really not. You push beyond certain limits. You do things that you wouldn't normally do. And when we take it outside of, the workspace, having safe spaces in general, let's talk about dating. When you're talking to your friends and the people around you and everybody's talking about how he got to have X, Y, and Z amount of dollars, he's got to be able to take care of this and take care of that. Nobody's talking about the character of the person. Well, you start to look for people who, well, fuck it, if their character's not good, what the check looking like, right? You start to look for people who can supply these surface level things, and you submit to it because, well, if I told my friends that I actually like this guy who doesn't really make that much money, they're gonna laugh me out the room. It's not a safe space to express that. Well, he's actually a really, really, really good person, kind, nice, sweet, God fearing, but he only makes $50,000 a year right now, right? You don't have the safe space to express that. They're gonna laugh you out the room. So then it's like, well, I ain't gonna tell nobody about that. I ain't gonna. Let me just try it, right? Let me try and date the guy that's flashing the ones in the club. Let me date the dude with the big chain, even though he's talking to you crazy. He's doing you dirty. He's not taking care of your heart. He's not protecting you, right? So when you don't have these safe spaces, you begin to compromise, right? You begin to accept things that is okay in the space you're in, but not okay within your heart, not okay within your mind and your soul. So again, when people ask me why it got to be just for Black women, because we need to feel safe. We need to go somewhere where we can show up unapologetically, authentically as we are, right? And when you find those spaces, you become so affirmed. And affirmation is huge. And I'm not talking about I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich, I am strong. Yeah, you say those daily affirmations, that's cool. But what I mean is when you walk into a place and you recognize, whoa, they want me, accept me, like me, care for me just as I am. I actually can be goofy here. I actually can be silly here. Wait, I actually don't have to always know the answer here, right? When you find these spaces, you become affirmed, and that does something to your soul. It does something to your psyche of like, oh, shoot, I was created with intention. There are actually people who vibe with me just as I am. Wow. You begin to recognize how special and I can't think of a better word than affirming that type, right? When you are someone who is deeply emotional and you feel things and you walk into a space where emotions and feelings are celebrated, right? And people are actually curious on, well, how do you feel about that? What do you think? What comes up in you when you hear this, right? When you walk into those spaces, you you suddenly like transform. It feels like, right? But even though it's you your whole time, but it's like you transform into this super powered version of yourself, right? This version of yourself that stands 10 toes down, excuse me, this version of yourself that stands 10 toes down on what you think, what you feel, what you believe, even if the other people in that space don't necessarily agree, but they affirm you, right? I don't feel sad when I watch this. I feel upset. I don't feel um misunderstood when I watch this. I feel validated, but each opinion, is respected. It's honored. It's taken, as value. You can stand on something now, right? Instead of feeling like you're gonna walk around on eggshells. Well, let me not say this. Let me just go along to get along. Let me mute mute that thought. Don't say it. You find, whoa, actually, you know what? I do think. Actually, you know what? I don't think. Actually, I actually like this. And that affirming, that confidence boost, you will find that you can become a totally different person in the best ways, right? And this is something I have prayed for and I still pray for. It's God, allow me to meet the spaces, the opportunities who are looking for me exactly as I am, who are wanting my skills exactly as I have them. Because even if we take it back to the profession, yes, there is something to education. Yes, there is something to training and honing your craft and becoming better. But there is also something to these skills that I have right now align me with the people who are looking for this exact skill set. You might think, well, I only know how to fill water bottles. I don't really know how to do much else. I can only make logos on Canva. I only know how to make a really good turkey sandwich. My only skill is I could paint a wall of one solid color. Right? You might think that these are very minimal, non-important tasks. But I promise you, there is somebody out there who is looking for that turkey sandwich. There is somebody who will eat that thing and be like, "Oh my God, this is the best turkey sandwich I've had in a while." I've been looking for somebody to just. I have a soccer team. We meet, at through 5 days a week. I need a quick lunch. I need an easy lunch. I'm not just pick up. I don't have time to make lunches for 100 people, and you out here making these fire turkey sandwiches. There is somebody who is looking for exactly what you have. And again, it's not to say, all right, I made a turkey sandwich on white bread. I'm never going to try, croissant bread or a brioche bread. I'm never going to go get a better type of turkey. I'm never going to, go to the farmer's market now for my tomatoes. I'm not going to try Dijon mustard. These are ways of leveling up, scaling up, what you're really good at. It's not to say that, they come to me and they said, "Well, could you make a ham sandwich?" Oh, yeah, I can make a ham sandwich. I never thought about it, right? And I'm using this simple example, but there are some of us out here who think that our skills are basic and that anybody can make a turkey sandwich, anybody can make a ham sandwich, anybody could paint a wall, anybody could do, right? But no, sometimes sure I can make a turkey sandwich. I don't have time, nor do I have the desire. Actually touching the turkey gives me the ick. Actually slicing tomatoes is like the biggest waste of time, right? So there are people who don't operate in that zone that is your zone of genius. And so when you pray, Lord, show me my skills, bring someone into my life who can speak life into me, who is looking for exactly what I have to offer, who is looking for it how as it is. You can make it and then make it better later. Again, I'm not saying we just become complacent in our gifts and our skills, no, but I am saying you got to start somewhere, right? And so when you're in a safe space, when you have a space where people are looking to you to affirm you, when people are looking to you to build you up, to call out a thing in you that they see that, you are really good at setting a table. And you just like, oh, for real, be playing around. No, you are really good at this. Right? When you have those people around you who can identify and who can see something in you that a lot of times we don't see in ourselves, it is invaluable. So again, why does it have to be a safe space just for Black women? Because I want to create a community where we call out the best in people, where we call out our skill sets, where we can utilize each other's skill sets, where we can encourage and bring light to a thing that people are maybe vacillating or questioning or whatever, that this community can affirm those things in certain people where they may not be able to get that affirmation from someone else, from people outside the community, because they don't see it from the perspective that we see it, right? And those people seeing you, right? People valuing you. Again, you walk boldly. You walk in confidence. Like Miss Angelou said, now all these people in this community, they done told me my turkey sandwich is fire. So walking into this turkey sandwich competition, you're not gonna tell me it's not good. I know it's good. I got the voices, I've got the confirmations, I've got the affirmations of my community behind me, right? So I also have, heard that when a door is open for you, when you have this opportunity for you, it's not always because there's something in it for you to get out of it. Sometimes that door is open because there's somebody on the other side who needs what you have. And when we have these communities that allow people to show up in their authenticity, it allows others in that community to glean from it. If you're making these turkey sandwiches, I'm gonna just stick with this example because it's getting right now, but and I just had a fire turkey sandwich. If you're making these turkey sandwiches or making these widgets or providing these services, right? Sometimes the ways in which you go about it are to bless other people. I made a turkey sandwich today on croissant bread, baby. That thing was good. Normally, it's a wheat bread or a white bread. I made that on a croissant. It changed my life. And I'm being silly with this example, but you never know, how what you have, as basic, as simple, as easy as it comes to you, can bless somebody else. For a real example, me being the brand best, I am really good at taking people's ideas in from ideation to creation. I've met so many business owners, so many people who are like, I want to do this, I want to do that, but then I can't because I got to and then there's this and that, and then social media, and I don't know, and there's all these roadblocks in their mind. For me, it is so easy to say, oh, you want to make an ebook? All we have to do is I'm really, really, really good at it, right? But if I were to be like, oh, well, I don't really be doing nothing. I just come up with stuff and not pursue that gift, not utilize that gift. I am now blocking potentially blessings for other people. They've had this book idea in their head for years, right? And by my making it simple, my simplifying these ideas, I am now able to bless them and help them get this message out that God has placed on their heart. Right. But if I just cowered and if I just, they don't, all I'm doing is, and perfect example. I said to my aunt, well, I feel like I need to figure out how I can monetize these things that I make for people. I feel like I make the ebook, but I want to be able to tell them do this, and this, and immediately you'll be monetized and immediately you'll get sales. And she's like, that's somebody else's job. That's somebody else's ministry, the monetization ministry. Your job in that scenario is to make the book. Your job is to help that business owner get the ideas out, format the book, make it look presentable, take what they have in their head, make it to come to fruition, and then we work with somebody who's going to monetize. right? I was selling myself short because I'm like, well, I can't, I hate to just create the thing and then we can't sell the thing. I'm not, she's like, that is not your ministry. That is not what you have to do in order to still be viable, in order to still be valuable to these people. The fact that you can help them get it on paper, create the podcast, start the thing, in it of itself is a pressure release for so many people, right? And if I kept telling myself, well, I'm not good enough because, right, I'm never going to help nobody make their ebook. I'm never going to help anybody launch their own podcast. I'm never going to help people understand how to manage and utilize their social media platforms and create the content for them, right? And for all I know, they could have a publisher on the other line who's like, yeah, we just need the book. We're ready to put it out. We just need the book. Right. So these are the things that having a safe space, a community allows you to work through and work out. If I wasn't able to call her, and express and kind of lament to her in that way without feeling, well, I mean, you're right, or I mean, well, yeah, I guess it would be helpful for you to monetize him. I don't know what you're going to do. If that was the response, it's just defeating. It's just deflating. But instead, she was able to speak life into me. She was able to actually affirm what I'm good at. She was actually able to help me see it from a different perspective in that, no, there is still value in this turkey sandwich, right? So I am so excited, honestly, to see this community grow, to see the affirmations come, and sometimes to see the course correction, right? Girl, you put way too much salt on that sandwich. Okay, you don't even need salt on the sandwich. Or why didn't you put mayo on both sides of the bread? Those kinds of correction. This thing would be fire if you just put mayo on both pieces of the bread. So I hope that you all understand my analogy of the turkey sandwich, and you understand that there is a skill set, there is a gift, there is a calling, there is something special on your life, on your purpose, that having safe spaces, safe communities can bring out of you, right? And so if you're listening to this, you already have a safe space, right? But we only come out here once a week. Although there's plenty of content on the TikTok and on the Facebook. But if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I don't really have that. I don't really have those people. Create it. Create the safe space, right? Think about the things that you need. Think about the things that you are looking for and put yourself out there. It is scary. Yes. It is not always the most exciting thing to do, because what if nobody likes what if nobody shows up, right? And that's a very real possibility. But a lot of times that only happens when we are not being authentic, right? When we're saying, this is what I'm looking for, but it's actually something else. When we are not being truly honest in that, hey, I am a woman in my 30s with no kids, and I'm actually looking for friends who believe in God, who still like to twerk, and, who like plants, whatever the thing is. When we are saying, well, actually, I'm a woman in my 30s, I'm looking for professional women who right? You're being false in what you're actually looking for. That's typically when you don't find your people. But when you can be authentic, you can be vulnerable, you can be real, you'll find your people. And it may take some time. It may take a couple of tries, a couple of attempts, but build that thing, baby girl. And I promise you they will come. And the more communities you start to build, the more confident you become. And well, maybe we should start this community, and maybe we should do this thing, and maybe we can do that, right? And then you have more people who are affirming you, who you can affirm. And there's this beautiful synergy that comes from starting these communities. Take it from me. I did it. I'm doing it now. And it's not again, it takes some vulnerability. right? It does take making that awkward post. It does take going to the event alone and kind of spilling your guts a little bit to the people because you want to flesh them out. If I'm not looking for married women, for example, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm a single woman, da 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 da. But you might not be the most confident in your singleness. But hey, if you need other single friends, you got to be honest about that. Yes, I'm single. Yes, I'm this. Yes, I'm that. Right? Yes, I like coffee. I don't like tea. I don't want to go to no tea shop. Don't come around me with tea. Right? Whatever that thing is. Yes, I'm healing from a domestic violent relationship and I'm looking for like-minded survivors. Or yes, I have daddy issues and I'm looking for women who've overcome these. Yeah, I'm struggling with my diet and I need some women who are struggling but trying to be better about it that can encourage me as well. Being honest, being vulnerable in the type of community that you're looking for will yield results. It will get you the things that you're looking for, taking the time to figure that out and put yourself out there. There's a ton of Facebook groups. There's so many podcasts where in the comments you find people like you, shoot in your Instagram story, on your TikTok. Like there are so many ways to get out a message and to receive information. We just have to decide to be responsible with managing that if community is something we're looking for. Okay. So listen, y'all, I said a lot. Okay. Thank you, Holden. I hope that this blessed somebody. I hope that this was helpful, to a listener, at least one. And if it maybe isn't the message for you, send it to somebody. Send it to someone who is maybe struggling with community or finding community. We have space for you here, sis. I would love to hear from you. And so that's going to lead me into our conversation challenge for this. So the conversation challenge is what safe space can you create in your community? Right? This is something I want you to ask, some friends that you have or mentor, mentee, whoever you find close and a confidant, and just ask them, what safe space do you think we can create in our community? And I would love to hear some of your answers in the comments. So let me know how it goes. And as always, we will be back next week, okay, with another fire popping delicious helpful, nutritious episode. All right. I love y'all and I thank y'all for tuning in to Let's Talk This podcast. See you next week. Bye.